This is from Twitter. In case you have time, what can you say about MERS in Korea? Do you have an idea how severe the situation is? Hashtag just curious. I pulled up the New York Times earlier this morning. It's actually about 6 a.m. right now. Steph and I have been awake all night painting the kitchen, which we just finished. In fact, I think I still have paint in my hair. But this MERS, which stands for the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, seems to be sweeping South Korea, and I keep seeing things pop up on my Facebook feed, so I decided to make an informational video. Some of this information comes from the New York Times, an article titled MERS Virus Path One Man, Many South Korean Hospitals. I'll link that article right below at the top of the description box of this video. Patient 0, or the index patient, where does it say? The index case was a 68-year-old man who thought he had pneumonia, and he had visited Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates before returning to Korea, and he thought that he just had the flu or common cold because he was coughing and had wheeziness of breath. He first went to hospital on May 11th. He went again to hospitals in his hometown of Asan on May 12th, May 14th, and May 15th. Doctors didn't know what he had. He didn't tell the doctors he had been in Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates. They sent him to a bigger hospital in Pyeongtaek, which is closer to Seoul, but still outside of Seoul, actually south of where we lived in Suwon. They didn't figure out what was wrong with him in Pyeongtaek, so then he went on May 17th to the Samsung Medical Center in Seoul, and finally the correct diagnosis of MERS was confirmed on May 20th. So this has been going on for 9 days before they finally figured out what it was. Of course, by the time May 20th, when they discovered that it was in fact MERS, he had infected thousands of people by going to many different hospitals. Some more information about MERS. Researchers have traced MERS to a virus that is believed to have jumped from camels to humans. The virus can be spread by breathing the same air as an infected or coughing person. In proximity, it causes high fevers and pneumonia-like symptoms, and there is no cure. Another thing that this article says is that the general public didn't know which hospitals were affected until just 2 days ago on Sunday, June 7th. And it's believed that 24 hospitals have been on the list. It does in fact say 24 hospitals. Some experts have faulted the South Korean government for the way it initially handled the information on the outbreak. None of the hospitals where patients were infected have been alerted about the possibility of MERS. And so as soon as the list of the 24 hospitals came out, which was 2.5 weeks after the first case was discovered, 5 more hospitals have been added to that list. But since that time, the numbers in those hospitals have drastically gone down. Like, people have been avoiding going to those hospitals once they found out about this. And sort of like a minor panic.
Pardon my appearance. So this is important because of many reasons, okay? I've been following this on my Facebook and my Twitter feeds from my expat and my Korean friends talking about this, and
who still live in South Korea.
And for a long time, first off, before the Seoul government released which hospitals this was going on in, nobody was allowed to talk about it, even if they knew, because the government would crack down on them, according to what I read on people's Facebook posts. I heard about a doctor who treated over 100 patients after he contacted MERS because people keep going to work, people keep going to school, even if they're sick in South Korea.
Because it's a cultural norm to do so. That was something we both experienced.
Yes, back in 2009, whenever the swine flu went through South Korea, I was teaching. I had to teach during the outbreak. I had students who came to my class who I knew were infected with it, and in turn, I ended up becoming infected with it because you weren't allowed to wear face masks, and kids and people cough without covering their mouths. And they'll get right into your face and cough into your face. I experienced that a lot as a teacher.
There was something else you told me about one of our friends who was teaching about a science experiment with blood.
Oh, yeah. This is another thing going along with Korean sanitation and how it may differ from our mindsets and how it may not exactly be kosher. She was working for a hagwon, and they were doing a science experiment where all the students had to prick their finger and put a drop of blood on a vial and look at it through a slide. Every student in her classroom used the same needle to prick their finger. That's unheard of in the US. You know, that's... Yeah. It's a different place.
Anyways, the situation does seem to be escalating there. 2,000 kindergartens and schools have closed, and concerts, religious, social gatherings have all been canceled. Sales of face masks and hand sanitizers have soared. Baseball stadium attendance has plummeted. And it is baseball season in Korea, and baseball is quite popular in Korea these days.
There are some people now who are being released from hospitals after going through the MERS, like they've survived it and they're returning to their homes, but there's still a lot of people under quarantine, and the face masks are so popular that I actually saw a picture of a wedding party where everyone, including the bride and groom, were wearing face masks.
I'm going to actually use that for the poster.
Cool.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful and informational for you, and please subscribe for more videos. That's it, I'm out of here. Hasta luego.